Have you ever thought about how delicious peaches are? I don't know. I was just kind of thinking about that. I really like the taste of white peach, specifically, and especially when it comes to teas and kind of stuff like that. But like the yellow peaches are also very good. So I don't know. There's something about just how delicious peaches are. Anyways, hello everybody. This is that Manga Dude, and welcome to another FVI. This is the part of the channel. This is the series in the channel where I talk about the newest releases, whether it be one shots, whether it be the first volume of a new series, and I give a more full review in comparison to my typical reading logs. So yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. I actually have 4 volumes I'm going to be talking about today, and it was quite the competition to see which is going to be the top and which is going to be the bottom. So it's going to be very exciting. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get right into it right now. Alright, so our first volume that I'm going to be talking about today, originally released in Hakusensha's Hanatoyumi back in November of 2013, and it is officially released in an omnibus format. We have the first 2 volumes, and it is this series here, Colette Decides to Die, Volume 1, from Alto Yukimura. So, let's talk about who worked on it really quick. We have translation from Max Greenway, touch of art and lettering from Inori Fukuda Trant, design is from Sean Carrico, and editor is Nancy Thistlethwaite. Alright, let's start. Thistlethwaite. There we go. Alright, let's talk about this cover and spine. It is gorgeous. I love the colors here. Very, very pretty. I guess you can see in the lighting here, but a very beautiful, like, watercolor style. Absolutely love it. I think the colors really pop. They have like a nice thing. I like the gold that they use for the spine, specifically for this font for the title, and the title looks really cool too on the front. So overall, I think this is a really nice looking release, and shout out to Colleen's Manga Rex, because they are the ones who have been pushing this series like crazy, and got me actually pretty hyped to check this out. So yeah, let's get right into it. So let's talk about our characters. We have 2 that I'm going to be talking about. First, we have Colette. She is the female lead of the series, as you would suggest from the name. She's resourceful, very intelligent, and she's always just a busybody, just super obsessed with work, stressing out, and she just feels very relatable and very believable. Definitely feels like a character that I can relate to specifically, especially when it comes to like overworking or trying to push yourself beyond your limits. And sometimes that's okay, but most of the time it's not. So I really love watching her character grow, even within the first couple of chapters and within the first 2 volumes. But yeah, overall, she's a great and very easy main character to root for. Now coming into our other character, we have Hades. He is the god of death, as you would expect from a character named Hades. He's also too obsessed with his work as well. He's definitely laser focused on always trying to complete the job, and kind of has this more of like a spiny exterior, tends to kind of push people away because he thinks that only he can solve his problems, and he doesn't really want to be letting people in. So his character is also very relatable. I think obviously a nice kind of like counterbalance to Colette, who's a lot more open about who and what they believe in. So overall, I really like their dynamic. Whether or not this becomes a relationship or if it just continues to be kind of like this platonic friendship, I just really like how this relationship is being developed, especially within the first couple of volumes. Alright, coming into our story. So, Colette is an apothecary for her village, and she feels like she's at the end of her rope. She's exhausted, people are constantly relying on her, and she just wants it all to really end. So, she accidentally falls into a well, which, according to this world here, the secret is that if you fall into the well, it leads into the underworld. And those secrets and rumors are actually founded because she lands straight smack dab into a jail cell for some reason, and lo and behold, she is now in the underworld. Hades is struggling from some kind of disease that he's not willing to let anybody else know, so Colette decides to help her, or to help him. And she kind of discovers why she became an apothecary in the first place while helping Hades. So it's kind of this interesting like self-discovery story. I really like it a lot. I think the pacing is great. I love the characters, like I said before during the story, or during the character section. But overall, the story flows really well. The pacing is great. Never feels like it's too rushed. Everything feels like we just get in just enough time to be able to see how the characters are feeling, watch the characters develop right in front of our eyes, and I really, really appreciate that about this series. And going into the art is gorgeous. It's really, really beautiful. Not only is the paneling fantastic, but I love the costume and character designs. They are very, very, very good. And it's so easy to see the different kind of characters. None of the characters look the same, which is really great. I feel like a lot of there are issues with some mangaka who will have these kind of like characters as same face syndrome, where a lot of the characters will look exactly the same. So I'm really happy that there's a very wide and diverse designs throughout this entire series. And just overall, I don't know, I thought this was fantastic. It definitely deserved all the hype it got when it was getting announced, and I'm really, really happy to have picked it up and been able to read it. Okay, coming into our second series, this is probably one of the most hyped shonen series in an extremely long time. This originally released in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump back in September of 2023, so it's only been a year, and that is Kagurabachi from Takeru Hokazono. So, let's talk about who worked on this really quick. We have translation from Camellia Nie, lettering from Phil Christie, design from Julian J.R. Robinson, and editor is John Bay. Let's talk about this spine and cover. The spine is whatever, it's fine, it's a white spine, but this cover is really cool looking. I love the colors, I love the design, it looks really cool. The back cover, it's basically just the front cover cut in bits and added some black, so not too interesting, but this is a really, really cool front cover. And yeah, just to give you some context, this series is ridiculously popular. For a series to only have 2 volumes out in Japan and to get an English release so early is genuinely surprising. And yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how quickly this series has like risen to fame. So let's get into it. We have ourselves our main character, Chihiro Orokuhira. He is the male lead of the series. He's kind of a mostly emotionless main character, especially in the first volume. Driven by a sense of justice. He kind of feels like, I'm not gonna lie, he definitely feels like a MASH, Burn Dead from Mashal, and like Saitama from One Punch Man light. So like he's not as interesting as those two characters per se, because like the comedy is kind of there, but overall, I don't know, I'm not really seeing the hype for his character. His character is fine. I'm kind of curious to see how this character is going to grow, but it definitely isn't like the most interesting main character. Now, going into the story, I will say the story is kind of fun. I liked it a lot more than the characters. But Chihiro's father, so the main character's father, was a world-renowned swordsmith who created these 6 special blades, which helped to end like the war that was going on in Japan. But after he goes into hiding and this gang finds him, kills him, and steals the 6 blades, Chihiro is now on a mission for revenge to get these blades back, and he wields the secret 7th blade, and it has like these kind of special abilities that he's able to tap into. And yeah, story's kind of interesting. I like where this is going. I kind of like how the story is being built up. It's getting ramped up in a nice way. The pacing is pretty solid as well. Get a nice mix of like action and slowed down like sections, so that's pretty cool. Overall, I don't know, I like the story, how it's been built up already within the first volume. And when it comes to the art is the best part of the series. There are some really flippin' cool action sections already. I just love it a lot. I love the abilities that we get to see already. Some really cool stuff. I'm trying to find like the specific like. Yeah, like this is like already really cool looking. I like this, like these 2 panels here. This part right here is a really cool panel. There's just a lot of really cool panels. And I don't want to spoil it too much, so I'm gonna stop flipping through it. But overall, Kagurabachi is an interesting case where I'm not understanding the true hype behind it. I think it's good, but it's not great. Maybe I'm just saying that because it's only the first volume. If I was reading it weekly, I might have a different opinion. But just from reading the first volume, it isn't like the best shonen series I've read, even the best battle series I've read. But overall, I think it's pretty entertaining, and I can see why people really, really like it. Alright, volume number 3, originally released in Kodansha's monthly shonen magazine back on May 2022, and that is going to be Yuki Ikeda's Thunder 3. Now let's talk about who worked on this really quick. We have translation from Kat Anderson, editor is Daniel Joseph, production from Grace Liu, Pei Yan Yap, and Lorena Mappa, and last but not least, proofreading from Kevin Luo. So let's talk about this spine and cover. This spine and cover is so awesome. I love it so much. It is like a, definitely supposed to be kind of like a movie poster. It looks awesome. I love the font they chose for Thunder 3. It looks super cool. The colors pop. I love it a lot. I love the spine. The spine looks great. The back cover looks awesome as well. This is so good. This is like right up my alley. This is the kind of like stuff that I really like, especially as having an art background. Like this kind of like design stuff just looks so good, and you could definitely like every little thing, every little piece. You get like the sister, the dog. You get like the 4 chapters. There's 4 episodes in it. We have volume 1. You have like a really cool like logo for the writer and the creator. It's just it's it's remarkable. And now going into the characters, so there are 3 characters I'm going to be talking about, and it's the 3 characters right here. It is Tsubame Azuma, Piontaro Tezuka, and Hiroshi Chanomisu. So they're the 3 male leads of the series, and it's kind of hard to truly differentiate between them because they're kind of like, they play off of one another. They're supposed to be based off of like tropes of like old school anime and manga, so like they're like kind of... they're kind of silly, they're kind of weird, you know, they're kind of goofy. But they're exactly what you'd expect from, like, kids. Kind of, like, on the dirtier side. Almost leaning into Crayon Shin-chan kind of territory in terms of that kind of stuff. But I do like their dynamic. I think their dynamic is funny. And it definitely harkens back to an older time. Whether you like that or not, that is completely up to you. You know, you don't have to like it. I'll just say right now. There are plenty of reasons to not like that style. But I think overall, I like their characters quite a bit. Now, in terms of the story is absolutely bonkers. The 3 boys are typical junior hires, goofballs who are a little too perverted for their own good. After they borrow a PS5 game from their teacher, they turn it on, and lo and behold, it's a super rendered out, extremely realistic looking world, and their sister, or Piontaro's sister, whose name is Futaba, basically walks into the TV somehow. And they're like, oh no, we have to follow her. What happened? So they go into the TV, and suddenly they're in this alternate world where everything is ridiculously hyper-realistic while they still stayed cartoonish. So it's an absolutely ridiculous story. I love it. I love it a lot. It's like right up my alley. It's kind of interesting. Like there's a little plot twist that happens in the middle of the volume, which I won't talk about in case you want to read it. But it definitely took me for a loop, and I'm really loving where the story is going to go. Regardless, you know, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be crazy. The pacing is like bam, 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 bam. So if you're ready for like a very much action-packed, ridiculous manga, you're going to absolutely love this. And now coming into the art, it is a mixed bag, at least in my opinion, personally. I like the old school designs, especially at the beginning. They're much simpler, kind of like silly, definitely very much like I said, like an old school design. But when it comes to the more realistic stuff, I tend to have I tend to not like the realism as much. It definitely gives me vibes of the Gantz artist, which if you don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of that art style. It just doesn't vibe with me. I don't know, just me personally, not my thing. But overall, I think this is a great read. I think it's 100% worth picking up, especially if you're looking for something just completely off the wall, ridiculous, but you're gonna have a great time. So yeah, check out Thunder 3. And coming into our last volume, this originally released in Shogakukan's Manga 1 and Uda Sunday, which are, I believe, 2 web magazines, and that is going to be back in August of 2021, After God from Sumi Eno. Let's talk about our people who worked on this. We have ourselves translation and English adaptation from David Evelyn, touch-up art and lettering from Evan Waldinger, design Cam Lai, and editor Holly Fisher. Alrighty, let's talk about this spine and cover. I think this cover is awesome. It's beautiful. It's great. I like how like kind of creepy it is, but also just like fascinating and really beautiful. Like honestly, the font is fine. It's not like my favorite in the world, but I do like how the art flows between the front cover to the spine to the back cover. It just looks really good, and I think the blue really helps it pop, especially with like the kind of simpler gray. Now, let's go into the characters. We have ourselves Sachiyuki Tokinaga, who is not on the front cover. Let me see if I can find him here really quick. This is him. This is Sachiyuki Tokinaga. He is the male lead of the series. He's a researcher for this organization that's studying the gods, which I'll get into when we talk about the story. But he's kind of driven to help as many people as possible, and he's a really easy character to root for, even though he's not, like, the most interesting character. He does play a lot of like purpose and importance within the first couple of chapters, and I won't say he's like the most interesting. I think he's very much just like a it's for justice kind of person, at least in my opinion. I didn't see any kind of nuance with that character just yet, but on the other side, we have Waka Kamikura. She's the female lead of the series, who was also on that page that I showed. Where is she? This lady here, I guess you can't tell, she's wearing a mask. But she's the female lead of the series. She has mysterious powers and is trying to find out what happened to her best friend, but also to eliminate all gods. I really like her character quite a bit. I think like her goals are very obvious and very easy to empathize with and sympathize with. I just like her character overall, and it's going to be interesting to see how her character grows and changes, because it definitely feels like there's a lot of complexity to it, whether it's like the flaws end up becoming like her weapons and tools. I guess we'll just have to see. Now going into the story, so the story is pretty interesting. Gods have descended upon Japan and are causing havoc for the residents of many of the cities. Many cities are now being labeled as danger zones and are blocked off from anyone entering them. The only people who can are these researchers and scientists who are trying to find a way to defeat these gods. That is when our main characters meet one another, and we discover that Waka has these abilities of like a god, but she is not a god herself. So the researchers come to take a liking to her and are trying to find out what she is, because maybe she is the key to defeating the gods. So it's a pretty interesting story. I already really like it. The world building is very strong. The pacing is very good as well. Love the writing. There's some really, really creepy moments just in it. But overall, really cool story. Definitely interested to see where it's gonna go. And going into the art is absolutely gorgeous. If you couldn't tell from the front cover, it's very, very beautiful. There are a lot of really great moments. This right here, you don't even need to know the context. This is just absolutely gorgeous. It totally blew me away when I got to this page. I was like, wow, this is stunning. It's just really beautiful. Like, I love the effects. I love the characters and the way they're drawn. I really like the just the overall posing and everything. This is just really, really good. So definitely worth a shot. I think this was a really cool first volume, and I 100% suggest, if you're looking for kind of like a dystopian, almost like a during apocalyptic series, it's a lot of fun. Alrighty, let us rate these from my favorite to least favorite. So we have After God, we have Thunder 3, we have Kagurabachi, and we have Colette Decides to Die. So, it's a hard one. I'm not gonna lie. I think I only know my definitive bottom, and that is Kagurabachi. I already kind of mentioned it. Kagurabachi was good, but not my favorite. I think I understand the hype, and I'm definitely gonna be picking up the next volume. But yeah, it just didn't really hold a candle to these other three. So when it comes to these two, I think I'm gonna move Thunder 3 to number 3, because like I said, it's just the realistic art part is kind of throwing me for a loop. It's just like a personal thing that I don't personally like, but I still think there is merit to it. And then between these two, it's hard. I'm gonna have to personally say that Colette Decides to Die takes the number 1 spot. I just think Colette Decides to Die was really, really, really good, and 100% a pickup, 100% worth it. And it just goes to show you that people shouldn't judge a manga by its demographic, because yes, it's a shoujo series, and people tend to whine a lot about shoujo series, but you know what? Maybe you should just become cultured. What can I say? And that's gonna be it for this FVI. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. I really appreciate when people like watch my videos. It means a lot. And thank you so much for all your support, for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. Thank you for helping me hit 4,000 subscribers before the end of the year. It really means a lot, and it was like such a beautiful thing happen. I love you guys so much. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.